Anna, I know you wrote this week in Punchbowl that Democrats are on track to pass this massive bill sometime in late next week or the weekend. I wonder how much it's going to resemble President Biden's proposal, especially when it comes to minimum wage, because I think a lot of people want to know, is it going to hit that $15 mark or not?
Yeah, Democrats have to play a flawless hand here to meet the deadline, one of the deadlines that Joe Biden has set out, which is March 14th, when he said that they're going to sign this bill into law. That's a very short amount of time. Right now, the next week is key for House Democrats to pass this bill. The issue of minimum wage, obviously raging with progressives trying to push it and make it part of the bill. It appears that it will be part of the House bill. But again, the Senate is a whole different ballgame. And right now, by parliamentary procedure and arcane rules that have to deal with spending bills, it appears that it will be thrown out and will not be a part of this bill. I think there's going to be a lot of wrangling around that. And certainly in terms of Chuck Schumer, the majority leader in the Senate, he is going to need to pacify the progressives who want this to be a part of it in order to get it passed, because it's going to be a party line vote. They're going to need every single Democrat and Kamala Harris to get this bill across the finish line.
And of course, a big part of this bill, Yasmeen, is a focus on vaccine distribution. Before I let you go, can you talk about this rush to get as many people shots as possible before variants of the virus really ramp up? Because I know a lot of experts are worried that it's a race against time.
Right. I mean, the vaccinations are obviously the key to reopening and getting life back to normal as quickly as possible. But the other piece of this that you mentioned is that the more the virus spreads, the more opportunity there is for variants to spread and for there to be other mutations of the virus. So experts know, and the administration knows, that the best way to prevent against these variants from really getting out of control, from becoming the dominant strain in the US, is to vaccinate as many people as possible. Even though the vaccines may be a little bit less effective against some of these variants, they still offer some protection. And the more you can prevent the infections from spreading in the first place, the more you can protect against the variants really getting out of hand.
And I think Republicans are on board with money for testing and vaccines. But Ed, this morning you reported that local mayors across the country are urging lawmakers to really think about that $350 billion that they want for state and local aid. And I wonder if the pressure on Republican lawmakers is enough, or if that figure is just too expensive for them.
I think it's one of those things that Republicans would like to support and might, were it standing alone as an option to be voted on up or down. But the sort of traditional Republican argument, or the most common one we've heard in recent weeks, is they consider this what they call a blue state bailout, that most of the cities that are facing budget shortfalls are larger Democratic-controlled cities, most of them inside Democratic-controlled states. But in the conversations I had with the Democratic mayor of Baltimore and with the Republican mayor of Oklahoma City, they said no. If you were to go to most big and small cities and towns across the country, they're having a very similar problem: a lack of tax revenue, a shortfall that's caused by, the inability to write parking tickets on people who are downtown either working or shopping, convention centers not holding large meetings, tourists not paying the hotel tax. All of that revenue that these cities and towns may rely on across the country has dried up, and it's unclear when or if it'll ever come back. So as the mayor of Oklahoma City said to me, we've been responsible for helping dole out federal programs to help small businesses, to help community organizations that are helping with dealing, helping the homeless or other low-income Americans. What cities now need as employers, and some of the largest employers in their states, cops, firefighters, and others, is their own federal relief program, and that's what they're hoping this would do. It has broad bipartisan support from more than 400 mayors across the country. Certainly a handful of governors in both parties also say it's necessary. Whether there will be Republican support for that specific proposal or the entire package remains to be seen. One of the sort of underreported but somewhat noticed aspects of this past week, and it was a crazy one, was that the Maine Senator Susan Collins, a Republican, noted again she'd heard from the White House. They were still talking about finding a way potentially for at least some Republicans to vote for this COVID relief bill once it gets to the Senate.
And they're already talking about what's next. I mean, this week we saw Democrats roll out the president's sweeping immigration bill. And Ayesha, I wonder why you think they decided to go forward with that now, when a lot of us expected that, they'd be talking about an infrastructure plan by now.
Well, it seems like, and reporters tried to nail down White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on exactly what the strategy was for rolling it out. She talked in very broad terms that this wasn't really political. They look at this as a moral issue. I think what we're seeing is, the Biden administration is trying to say that they've learned from what happened during the Obama administration, where many Hispanic groups and immigration groups felt like they were on the left, felt like they were left behind, that they were put on the back burner while Obama went after, passing Obamacare, trying to get a climate change bill passed, and that they ended up on the back burner and nothing happened. And this is a very difficult issue. So I think what you see Biden trying to do is say, no, I'm not like, Obama. I am, I'm going to roll out a plan on the very first day in office. And now we have the legislation. This is a priority for me. The problem is there are only so many trains leaving that station in Congress. And so you're trying to get this big recovery bill, this big rescue act bill. You're trying to do infrastructure. And now you're talking about immigration, which has been impossible to get done for more than a decade, really. And so these are really huge things that they're trying to get done.